Greetings to you from wherever you're watching us. Thanks for joining us on the Tuesday edition of the show. I'm Yemi Adiba. Well, tonight on the show, we will be talking about the African Cup of Nations. Nigeria, Super Eagles of Nigeria find themselves in an intriguing group. We'll talk about that for you on the show. We will also take a look at what is happening here on the domestic scene. Talk about the guys, talk about the ladies, the Nigeria Premier Football League, Nigerian Women's Football League. We'll also do our best to talk about what's going to happen tomorrow. UEFA Champions League, that's what's on the menu tonight. Of course, you already know it's a two-man show. Michael Legosio, Kona Akpan is suited and ready as we take you on the street across the money spinning world of sports.
What a greetings to you, Yemi, and of course everyone joining us on the show tonight. It's always an action-packed world of sports in Africa. Everyone is still talking about the draw ceremony that went down last night in Rabat, Morocco. Yes, we're getting ready for the AFCON in December. Nigeria, like every other participating country, already know their opponents. And the question is, was it a fair draw? I think it was a fair draw. The pairings look good, but hey, I'm not among those who are quick to say, oh, it's an easy group for Nigeria. Oh, Nigeria will find it easy to just go through Group C. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we should approach this AFCON as it is serious business, while having in mind that we still have to qualify for the World Cup. So yes, Yemi, I'm ready to get into the show tonight. So much happening in our world of sports. We will have fun tonight talking sports.
All right, we'll do our best to look at it from different angles. We have, I won't let the cat just out of the bag just yet, but of course, you will be surprised, of course, the angles to which we're going to have to look at the Nations Cup. But let me quickly introduce our guest in the Lagos studio. Kehinde Idris joins us now. Kehinde Idris, greetings to you. Thanks for finding time to be with us on the show tonight. A lot to pick from, but in any case, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, always good to be here. Whenever I get the extension of invite, I'm super excited. Looking forward to Tuesday always. And the AFCON draws, I think, is the biggest discourse in the entire continent right now. Who are we to play? You know, how is it going to be? What's the preparation like? And maybe fairly, I look at Group C again and again, and I think Nigeria need to really pull their weight in there. But I'm looking at the entire menu, and I'm super excited with the MPFL and also the NWFL. For the MPFL, it has gotten to a point where we call the business end. You need to be up and active at this point. For the NWFL, just starting, but some teams are already showing intent.
All right, some teams are already showing intent. All right, let's bring into the conversation tonight a veteran sports journalist, a man of many parts, and of course, somebody who is a trailblazer in this profession of ours. I have the pleasure of bringing on Kunle Sholaja. He joins us tonight on the show. Greetings to you, sir. Thanks for finding time to be with us on the show tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a pleasure being with you.
All right, let me just throw this one at you. My colleague also, Kona Akpan, too, will be firing in some in-swingers. I just want to ask your immediate reaction when you saw the draw. Is it going to be an easy one for Nigeria? I mean, what do you make of the draw? Let's start with that.
Yeah, I don't think we can call it an easy draw because that's the way we perceive the World Cup qualifying draw that happened that reached Nigeria against countries that are far, far below in FIFA ranking. Yet, that group has become what's supposed to be a simple arithmetic for us, has become a sort of Greek puzzle. We now have to carry our calculators every time to calculate how we are going to make the catch-up game and all those things. It's funny that we played 4 matches in the World Cup qualifying group. We are yet to win any, and we are languishing 5th position in a group of 6. The same way, I'm looking at the African Cup of Nations holding in Morocco. We are the top seed, but I hope we won't end up struggling to qualify. On paper, you could say, okay, that group C belongs to Nigeria and Tunisia, the two top groups. But you take those matches one after the other, and you discover that it's going to be a different ball game when you are playing a team like Tanzania, when you are playing a team like Uganda. For instance, now you ask yourself, Uganda may not be a well-known football nation, a football team, but it may intrigue you to find that Uganda has always been a very, very difficult team for Nigeria to beat. Even when they make Vincent Inyama had his 100 cap,
Yeah.
in 2015, Uganda came to Nigeria and beat us there. They've beaten us 4 times, and we've only beaten them, I think, once or twice. So they've always been a difficult nut for us to crack. The same thing Tanzania, the matches between Nigeria and Tanzania have been far apart, but all the same, you cannot push them over. What is really, I mean, you look at our national team, and then you ask yourself, how many times have they been able to win a match with 2 goals or above in the past 3-4 years? Apart from defeating Sao Tome and Principe, apart from the 3-0 against Benin Republic and the 2-0 against Cameroon, we've never won any match with 2-goal margin. And when you go with that kind of mentality to a tournament, you are playing with fire.
All
so
right.
It's not an easy move at all.
Okay, not an easy one. All right, I can see Kehinde Idris with me in the studio nodding his head. Before I yield to Austin, just your own reaction. We're going to have a robust conversation around it. I'm listening to Mr. Kule Sholeda, and he's trying to make us understand, like, look, it's not going to be easy as you all think. But what do you say to people who tell you, look, there are traditional tournament teams?
Yeah.
It does not matter what is happening to them. When they get to the competition, they do well. They'll mention teams like the Azuris of Italy. So what do you say to that when you hear people talk like that?
Yeah, I think really you can pardon them and probably roll with them. Nigeria is a proper tournament team. Prior to the last year's AFCON, there was nothing to write home about. In fact, we all feel this is the competition that will expose Jose Peseiro. Let him go there, fumble, and he will come back to get his sack. But we got to the tournament, crawled, sidestepped, and then we found ourselves in the final. There is a reason why we've gone to 20 AFCONs, and we've made the semi-final 16 times. If 20 times we've been at the tournament, I made 16 semi-final spots. Also, we are the highest, the team with the most medal at the AFCON. There is no team who's got more. Maybe some teams have more trophies, but when you're talking of medal, that's first place, second place, third place combined. Nigeria has more. This is what we're talking about. But let me take you back. Last year's AFCON, we had Guinea-Bissau, Equatorial Guinea, and Cote d'Ivoire in our team. On paper, the only team that seemed like they can give us trouble is the pedigree of Cote d'Ivoire, and also they are the host nation. For Equatorial Guinea and Guinea-Bissau, it was supposed to be a walk in the park. Number one, we drew against Equatorial Guinea. First game, we had to equalize. That was Osimhen's, goal right there. In the final game, which is inconsequential for Guinea-Bissau because they were already out, Nigeria could beat them with an own goal. One goal was all we used in beating, Guinea-Bissau, and it was an own goal. So that tells you what Kule Sholeda is saying is a fact. Sudan, Tanzania, maybe on paper, Tunisia is the only team that could probably rub shoulder, but we might still struggle against this time. That's a worry. All
right. Some of our viewers will be wondering, okay, what are these guys talking about? Let me just quickly go across the screen. Let our viewers see particular emphasis on the group where we have Nigeria, and of course I'll do that. I'll yield to Austin. There you have it, the hosting group A, Atlas Lions of Morocco, Eagles of Mali, Chipolo, Polo of Zambia, Comoros in that group. In Group A, Group B, Egypt, South Africa, Angola, and Zimbabwe for the 2025 African Cup of Nations. Let's quickly move on. We've seen A and B in Group C, which is where we will stay with. You could forgive us if we do that. Super Eagles of Nigeria, Carthage, Eagles of Tunisia, the Cranes of Uganda, and Taifa Stars of Tanzania, all in that group. Then you have the Teranga Lions of Senegal, DR Congo, Benin Republic, and Botswana in Group D. Then you go to Group E. In Group E, you have Algeria, the Silence of Burkina Faso, Equatorial Guinea, and Sudan. In Group F, you have Cote d'Ivoire, Cameroon, Gabon, and Mozambique. That's the groupings for the 2025 African Cup of Nations. So let me yield to Austin now. Of course, his immediate reaction. Two schools of thoughts now. Some that believe, forget what is happening to Nigeria when we get to that tournament, we'll do well. And those who are pointing us to the immediate past, how we struggle against these so-called small teams.
Yeah, you know, and no disrespect to the Super Eagles or fans that believe that Group C will be an easy walk for Nigeria, but I'm always quick to remember them. And my senior colleague, Kule Osolaja, did the same thing with the World Cup qualifiers. We thought it was going to be easy peasy, walk in the park, and now we're solving algebra every day to see how we're going to make it to the next World Cup. Another thing I've noticed is people just follow the football in their own country and don't bother to do a bit of research. For instance, I'm so worried. In that group, the Cranes of Uganda, they've been playing beautiful football. In the qualifiers, they lost just one game and drew one and won the rest. They were in Group K with South Africa. South Africa topped that group with 14. Uganda was 13. And we've seen Super Eagles lately that when you push them, they will crack. Rwanda, Zimbabwe, Lesotho, Central African Republic, Guinea-Bissau. Should I go on? That said, people should know that you have to dig deep when you get into a competition. And also when Pizarro came, he said, look, you've been playing attacking football. What's been happening? So don't be attractive anymore. This is tournament football. You play 6, you're in the final. I think if they go with that mentality, then we can maybe start saying something. Well, some other things they'll come and do like this, do like this, do like that with African football. Before you know what's going on, it will be the case that I had in 2021 when I left London to Cameroon saying, oh, Nigeria has qualified for the round of 16. They will make it to final. As I was getting to Yaoundé, Tunisia was beating Nigeria, and we're back. That was 2021. A lot of persons have already forgotten. But I'm just saying this. Most of will come to me now and say, oh, Austin, you don't believe in Nigeria again. You are not supporting the Super Eagles. I'll let Kule Solaja say something. But let's listen to Super Eagles captain William Troost-Ekong. He's been saying some interesting things right after that draw.
Draw now over. Very exciting to see the new group. Tunisia, Uganda, Tanzania, 3 teams that need to be respected. I think we have the experience now to know how to handle these situations. There's no such thing as an easy game in Africa, and yeah, I stand by that. But I believe that we have everything in our team to make sure that we come out of this group and this time go all the way. We learned so much last year from the AFCON in Abidjan, but this time we'll be more ready and be working hard throughout the year to make sure everyone is fit and ready and everyone is looking forward to getting going under the new coach. So yeah, exciting year ahead and very happy with the AFCON draw.
So that's it, William Troost-Ekong. I think he said the right things. He was careful with his words. Kule Solaja, I said they learned good lessons from the last AFCON. I thought they were going to take those lessons into the qualifiers, but I didn't see it being applied. So are you confident, just like majority of Nigerians, that, look, this time around the Super Eagles, we'll just do something in December, and before we know it, they're in the finals? Are you part of those Nigerians?
Well, personally, I'm expecting a good tournament. And if you also consider the fact that the logistics and everything are in Nigeria's favor, we are the only team that will be camped in Fez, where we will play all our 3 matches. In short, the Super Eagles will be the home team in Fez. And not only that, we will just be strolling to the stadium and coming back. The 3 other teams in our group, we have to be coming in from Rabat for their matches and going back. So we'll be saved that stress. So in terms of logistics, everything worked out well for Nigeria. But it's now left for Nigeria to really work towards winning. If you have been to the Super Eagles camp, you will have a feeling that, well, the players are on holiday. Everybody is free to himself. And you also discover content, social media content producers always invading their rooms, in their camps, and they will be asking irrelevant questions, not questions that are related to the assignment at hand. I would have expected a more serious and robust Nigerian Football Federation to take political action, to have a camp commander, to make the Super Eagles camp a no-go area, not even to board members. That once you say this is a camp, it's a camp, and that's why it's called camp. It's not an holiday resort where it was training, and you have to concentrate on the assignment at hand. But when you are being distracted here and there by people who just carry to do selfies, to post on Twitter or X handle, to post on Facebook, just to have content and mass followers, and the NFF, succumb to that. If you look at even the qualifying for this AFCON, technically speaking, we played just one match and we won squarely, and that was the opening match, the 3-0 against Benin Republic. The next match, we labored to a 0-0 draw against Rwanda. The third match, we labored up to the last minute to be able to beat Libya 1-0. Thank God for what the Libyans did. If that match had taken place in Libya, maybe we'll be talking of another thing now, because you discover that the Libyans are not pushed over from what they did in Rwanda. They beat Rwanda. As a matter of fact, you can say technically speaking, Libya handed the AFCON 2025 ticket to Nigeria. First, by the act that gave us 3 points, 3 goals without kicking the ball. Then the other team that would have given us headache, they beat that team for us. And by the time we are facing Benin on that same day, we had already pre-qualified tickets. So thanks to Libya for that helping hand. So you ask yourself, on the field, on and off the field, we need to put our act together. And that is what I expect the new manager to do. That, look, this is a training camp. And football is the only business you have come to do here. Content providers, social media enthusiasts should not be allowed into our national team camp.
But they will argue that they are also looking for content, and this is the is it generation of social media. So they also love it when they see those content on social media. So I agree with you. The NFF should find a way to curb it, just so there was just a bit of control around the team. But let's talk about other groups before we go on a quick break. What other groups got you talking? For me, it was Group D. What about you?
Well, all the groups are very exciting to me. All the groups, especially if you look at the group that has Côte d'Ivoire, the defending champion, Cameroon, multiple champions, and then Gabon. You cannot really push them over. That group is going to be tough. That group is going to be tough. Then you look at Group E, where you have Algeria, Burkina Faso, and Equatorial Guinea. It took all, we labored to a 1-1 draw against Equatorial Guinea. And like someone has said, thank God for the own goal in the match against Guinea-Bissau. Maybe we may not have even gotten to the stage where we got, because that match was almost heading to a goalless draw. And then the penalty kick we had in our second match.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to quickly vote in right about now. We need to go on a quick break. All right, welcome back. We're talking about the African Cup of Nations. Wakunle Soilja was speaking. He alluded to logistics that it could probably be in favor of Nigeria with, in regards to where Nigeria will play. So we just quickly want to let you see that at the Nations Cup, Nigeria will be playing the 3 matches in the same venue. So it's more or less like we're the home team, so we won't have to be traveling, moving around, and that probably will give the guys a bit of comfort. Let me go back to Kule Sholade. He was in the middle of making his point before we went on that break. You were talking about a few things before we went on that break. You were talking about the Super Eagles and what needs to be done.
Well, they have to strengthen their camp and ensure that the camp is not porous. Yeah, like Austin said, everybody is looking for content, but you don't need to distract a national objective because you are seeking for content. I'm also a content seeker. I'm also a content provider, but I will not impede on the activities of the Super Eagles because I'm seeking for content. You get the point? So that is the first thing that has to be done. The camp is just too loose. And they really, in the days, I was with Clemens Westerhoff in September, August, September. And one of the things he said was that what made him to succeed was the discipline instilled in the team. When he says it is time for bed, light out is light out. That's not the time to see a player at the bar chatting with somebody. Whether male or female doesn't really matter, but the most important thing is that you keep strictly to camp rules. You don't do that in your club and get away with it. So, and the national team should not be an exception. When you come to the national team, to a national assignment, you know, traditionally, our footballers, when you invite them, when they come, it takes time for them to settle in camp because once some of them arrive in the country, they go to their villages, they go for social things and all this. Then when they arrive the camp still does not present a serious atmosphere. It's like a carnival, and that has to stop, especially now that we know that we drop a point in the remaining 6 matches for the World Cup, we are probably out. Not only that, even if we come out second, we may not be one of the best 4 runners-up because of, we are not scoring goals. We are deficitors at now, even with the 3 points we have, 3 draws and a loss. And we are in deficit of goals. And all those things are enough to really instill discipline in camp and then to get to carry on with your work and ensure that things are done well. Because by the time we'll be going to the AFCON in December, a lot of things will have been done regarding the qualification for the World Cup. The World Cup is just 499 days from today. It was 500 days yesterday for the kickoff. We may just discover that we all have, including our players, have to book a place in the spectator stand to watch the World Cup.
Wow. Hopefully that's not going to be the case. Kaide Idris, just quickly, because we have to move on from this. Your thoughts on what needs to be done, probably in a minute or two, before we yield back to Austin. He has said a lot about distraction. Mainly, that's his focus. What are the other things?
Like we do say, and a lot of us allude to that saying. 70% of what we see on the field happens before the match day. So what we see on match day is 30%. What are the things you've put in place? Facilities, welfareism, psychological state of these players before coming onto the pitch. And then when they come on, they come to execute. Also, they said, no matter what the strategy and all of that, tactics, you put the players through, the moment the game starts, it's a case of you're on your own. What ideas are in your head? What state are you in? We'll now later tell. Now, every day, I've said it on this program time and time again, these players will do their part. They'll practice, you'll see them turn up for their clubs. Now, let me mention some names that are not even core member of the Super Eagles right now. The likes of Cyril Dessers, Sadiq Omar, Joseph Ayodele Aribo. These are some names that probably time has they faced out of. These guys are balling. Not to talk of the Osimens, the Ademola Lookmans.
Yes.
Now, the simple question I keep asking, we all know what is the task at hand. What is the hierarchy of the NFF doing to help us through this? It's not about the players and the coaches.
All right.
The administrators have a huge role to play, and they need to understand that.
All right. Well, I know Mr. Kuleshwari is a very busy man, so let me just ask you one more question before we let you go, sir. I don't know. Let's just say, or let me put it this way, hypotheticals. Let's assume that all the things you have complained about doesn't change. It remains this way, and we go to the Nations Cup this way with all the things you've described. Let's assume it doesn't change, and we're still like that. How far do you think we can go?
Well, like I said, our performance in the World Cup qualifiers will determine how we are going to perform at the African Nations Cup. Because by the time African Nations Cup will be holding, we will have known whether we are in
True.
or we are out.
True.
Because a lot of matches will have been done. So if things have been bad for us, psychologically, the players will not be in their best element going for the African Nations Cup. But if they build up from March this year, where they have 2 matches, away against Rwanda and at home against Zimbabwe, if they should take those 6 points, those are enough to really take us up the ladder, possibly to the top, depending on the other results elsewhere. Then we can now be psychologically attuned to doing well at the African Nations Cup. And to me, qualification for the World Cup must be a priority over African Nations Cup. Yeah. And I have my reasons. What you stand to get for qualifying is more than what you will get if you win the African Nations Cup. And if we are talking about professional football, then we should prioritize the World Cup qualifier. And if we prioritize the World Cup qualifier and we're able to do well in that, then that good attitude, that ambience in the camp will be carried over into the African Nations Cup, and then we will be able to do better than even everybody expects us to do.
All right, Kuleshwari, I want to thank you for your time on the show today. Hopefully, we'll get to do this some other time.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being with you.
All right. To wrap up this conversation, let's quickly listen to the president of the Confederation of African Football, Patrice Motsepe. He's been sharing his thoughts immediately after the draw. We'll listen to him. Come back for more on Sports Tonight.
I think this is going to be the most successful AFCON, the most successful CAN in the history of African football. The quality of African football is growing and improving consistently. Morocco has made all of us enormously proud by going to the semi-finals of the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. The AFCON we had in Cote d'Ivoire, enormously successful. 1.4 billion people all over the world were watching it. 178 countries were watching it. And this is going to be even bigger, more successful, and more competitive.
All right, Patrice Motsepe. Patrice Motsepe's optimism is very infectious. But I don't know the matrix, I don't know the yardstick for which he's saying that this one is going to be better than all the ones that have been held previously. I don't know if Austin agrees with him, but at least one thing we can all agree on is that this man is definitely a very optimistic fellow.
I completely agree with him, Yemi. And if you take a look at the metrics from the last AFCON in Cote d'Ivoire, he's the president of the Confederation of African Football. He knows the statistics, he knows areas they need to improve. And there's this confidence they have in Morocco, particularly because of the infrastructure in the country. They told us at that draw ceremony that at the last AFCON, they recorded 1.6 billion viewers worldwide watching that AFCON. So just try to imagine what he is thinking about as a proper businessman. He's thinking commercial, he's thinking revenue, he's thinking about the business environment for football in Africa. And that's why I think Patrice Motsepe is a blessing, because he has come to redefine, the ecosystem and tell Africans that, look, you've got the market. That's why these Europeans are coming to feed on your people, to make money. Now we're going to have the AFCON when the leagues in Europe, will be happening. And it's strategic to say, oh, okay, let's see what shares we can get out of the football community. So I totally agree with him. I'm optimistic as he is, and let's see what the AFCON will give to us in Morocco when it kicks off 21st of September, and it will run through the 18th of January 2026. So we will be shouting Happy New Year, and the AFCON is going on. It's going to be interesting. Let's bring the conversation back home now. Talk about the National Institute of Sports. I mean, I've seen good coaches come out of the National Institute of Sports, and I think the late Mitela, Chioma John also passed through it. Some top coaches in Nigeria, so they're getting ready for the 50th anniversary. I can't even believe it's the 50th anniversary now for the institute, for the institution. A record of 996 students have graduated from the institution in the last 2 academic sessions, and as part of activities to mark the 50th anniversary and also the 9th convocation of the National Institute for Sports, the Director General of the Institute, Professor Olawale Akombi, says there are plans to induct some ex-students into the Institute Hall of Fame, which is first of its kind in its history. Let's listen to him and we're back to talk some more on the show.
We're inducting some of our ex-students into our Hall of Fame, and 6 eminent Nigerians will be conferred with the fellowship of the Institute. They are Senator Simon Bakulalo, Honorable Kunle Shoname, Mr. Allen Oyama, Dr. Rafiu Oladipo, Ms. Lucy Ejike, a Paralympian, and a lady, Dr. Danladi Babo, OON, an AC Sports broadcaster. Also in recognition of this immense contribution to the growth of the Institute, because as a national anthem says, we must celebrate our heroes past. And that led us to say the pioneer principal, late Sir Dr. Awuture Eleya, will be honored with the naming of the Institute Conference of where we are in after him for posterity's sake. We shall continue to place high premium on hard work and excellence in all our activities. In the past 2 years, we have upscaled our facilities and services, e.g., expansion of library, provision of more lecture rooms, rehabilitation of our football pitch, our basketball pitch, and many others. We have refurbished our laboratories, clinic, and other aspects of the Institute. In essence, many people have commended us that NIs now we are a better outlook.
So that's it, activities to mark the 50th anniversary of the National Institute for Sports. That's some reputable, coaching institutes in Nigeria. We heard some of the popular names that we know associated with sports in Nigeria. Kunle Shoname, Lucy Ejike, that's a good one also. Let's get on with the show now. Talk about the Nigeria Premier Football League. Kende Idris, what a story. Match day 20 brought the league back with a bang.
Yeah.
Which of the games got you talking?
Of course, Remo Stars and Rivers United game. Should be that talking point. Rivers United went to play 2, went to Jos, couldn't get anything because they lost 2-1. And then Remo Stars went to Uyo, played Aqua United, and got a win. And all through, I think from maybe match day 5, it's been Remo Stars or Rivers all the way. And maybe these are games that, eventually will tell the bigger story. When you go away and not just draw, you get to win. And that's all 3 points. And I'm sure that Rivers United are looking at Remo Stars and that result and saying this might just be the game changer eventually. There are still a lot of matches to be played, but if Remo could get one more away win, one more away draw, I think they might just be on the pedestal. Hey, none of us, who have been following the league will feel bad if either of them, because they play some good football. But so many other results, like the Sunshine versus the Ikorodu City, that was a fantastic game. If you didn't see that, then you're missing one game, to be seen in the Nigerian Professional Football League. Ikorodu City picking up from where they left off from the first half, but Sunshine Stars, Akure Gunners really, wanted this and they got there. So it was fantastic return for the NPFL, and we love every game. It's just that, you need to pick one or two for you to talk about, and those three really, really got my attention.
All right. Okay, so Kennedy Idris talking about some results, and you're wondering, what is he talking about? Okay, let's go to the screen. There you have it. Nasarawa United. Match day 20 results, by the way. Nasarawa United defeated Katsina United 1-0. Rangers, the Flying Antelope, lost to Niger Tornadoes, 1-2. This game, 7-goal trailer that Kennedy Idris was referencing. Sunshine Stars, the Akure Gunners, defeated the Ikorodu City in that Southwest Derby. Abia Warriors pipped Bayelsa United a lone goal. The Naze Millionaires, similar scoreline, defeated Lobby Stars. Plateau United defeated Rivers United. Aqua United didn't keep any promise. They lost to Remo Stars. On a day, the two teams that are vying for the trophy traveled. You would be looking at what will happen, but Remo Stars got a win. This is what it looks like after we are past the midway point now, just by a game. Top four, Remo Stars on top with 39 points. Rivers United with 34 points. Shooting Stars, flying under the radar, by the way, in the third position. Then the Flying Antelopes making up the top four, all right, with 31 points. Bottom four, you don't want your team to be here, because if you're here now, it's very difficult, very, very difficult, with just about 18 matches to be played. Bendel Insurance, 21 points. They're there in the 17th position. Lobby Stars, Aqua United, Nasarawa United, in that order. But Kennedy Idris, quickly, some will say, even though they're in the bottom four, if you look at the mid-table, they're not really far away.
Nothing is far.
So maybe a win, a draw here and there, before you know it.
Yes, I was looking at Enyimba after losing to Kwara United 2-0 yesterday. Enyimba just 4 points away from the top four. The team in the final top four position is on 31 points. Enyimba have got 27, so that's 4 points away. But when you hear they lost to Kano Pillars last week, they lost to Kwara United, they are far off. Far off is just, but in the NPFL, we know how hard also it is for you to cover a 4 points lead, because you win at home, fine, but getting away points is where you patch up points. And it's hard to get that in the NPFL. And that's why it's a competitive league. Look at Rangers. A lot of persons are now asking questions. Fidelis Ilechukwu, is it that the assignment to the national team might just be in the way of Rangers, just the same way it affected Kano Pillars 2 seasons ago? So NPFL, fantastic. Yeah. And this is why we always come here to talk about it. All right.
We have our hearts for the teams with what they are putting on the table. We're pressed for time, so let's go to the women now. Okay, fixtures first before we talk about the women. Aqua United, match day 21 fixtures. Aqua United will take on Lobby Stars. Bayelsa United will take on Sunshine Stars. El Kanami Warriors will be up against Rangers International. Ikorodu City will be up against Kano Pillars. Then, of course, Katsina United will take on Plateau United. These are the fixtures. Match day, 21 matches to be played, of course, in mid-week. And, of course, some other fixtures still, Niger Tornadoes up against Kwara United. Remo Stars take on Abia Warriors. Rivers United will take on Bendel Insurance. And, of course, Shooting Stars will take on Nasarawa United. Of course, they're playing at home, so who knows what will happen. All right, let's move on quickly as fast as we can. Let's talk about the ladies now. We've talked about the guys. I don't want to leave here without talking about the ladies. The world won't be the same without them. All right, let's quickly talk about the ladies now and take a look at what is happening in, of course, there on your screen. Match day 3, you have in Group A, matches will be played tomorrow. Edo Queens up against Remo Stars ladies. Ekiti Queens up against Danas ladies. Conference Queens up against Nasarawa Amazons. Heartland Queens up against Abia Angels. All of these matches in Group A. Let's flip quickly and take a look at Group B. And of course in Group B, Rivers Angels up against FC Robo Queens. Adamawa Queens up against Delta Queens, Benue Queens up against Bayelsa Queens, Niger Rattles up against Imbom Angels. All right, so these are the fixtures for the ladies match day 3. All right, before we go, we're pressed for time. I'm going to yield to Austin, but 2 seasons ago, even as at last season, if anybody tells you that there will be a game left in the UEFA Champions League and it would look as if Manchester City may not qualify, it will be very, very difficult to imagine such a scenario. But that's what we have on our hands in the UEFA Champions League. But Pep Guardiola is telling us, look, we can turn things around. So Austin, you're there. You're probably hearing things we're not hearing. How confident are you that City, even if they win their game, will be able to get a chance at least to be in the playoffs?
I think they will win that game. Pep is under immense pressure, and I feel for him because what happened to Manchester City happened at a very wrong time. I'm saying it's so wrong because of this new format that we have now, in the UEFA Champions League. It was a regular format where Manchester City will just look at the group and be like, oh, look at all these other small teams, we cannot be here. But with this new format where you get to play different teams, particularly that last match against PSG, that just brought down the walls for Manchester City. But I think they'll win their last game. I think they will barely make it to the playoffs and then pick it up from there. You see, gradually they are coming back into the league. They're beginning to get their rhythm again. They're beginning to play as a team. The new players are even getting into the team and making impact. Omar Mamouche, showed a lot of brilliance in his debut game. So, look, this thing can happen to any team. And I'm sure you agree with me that teams have gotten their own fair share of what Manchester City is suffering at the moment. In fact, to an extent, Arsenal is still going through it. Chelsea is still going through it. Manchester United, regular customers now. It's probably just Liverpool. Look at Tottenham that even started so well. Look at Tottenham today. And they cannot even cough properly. So football can really be humbling. But I wish Manchester City all the best. Let's see what they can do, tomorrow. And then we'll wait to see the outcome of other games and see if they will qualify. I know we don't have enough time to listen to Pep, but maybe Yami will close with that and then we'll get to listen to him. So that's it. That's where the curtain falls on this edition of Sports Tonight on Channels Television in London. I'm Austin Okonakpan. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
All right, it's a wrap here in Lagos as well, but I want to thank Kehinde Idris for his time on the show. Hopefully we'll do this again some other time. We'll continue with our conversation. A lot has been said that we didn't say on air, but thank you for coming.
It's always good to be here.
All right, that's the show today. We'll leave you with the comments made by the Manchester City manager, Pep Guardiola. Very confident that his team will turn things around. We bid you to enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you again tomorrow. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.
You have to an option to win the game, and if not, we will not continue in this competition, and we wanna go through to have another chance to play another 2 games to qualify for the next stages. So it's not a problem, it's an opportunity, a challenge, and we will face it. Been in many years in the Champions League. Since I started my career as a manager, this type of games I played many times. Sooner or later, you have to play this type of games that you win, you go through, you don't win, you are out. But it happened more in further stages, not I would say right now, but we are here for the reasons that we know that we are not good enough.